Hello, everyone. I'm Jan Haldane, the co-host of the Podcast Expert Summit. And this morning, I am very excited to have with me James Hicks from California in the USA. So good morning from New Zealand, James.
Jen, good to see you and pleasure to be talking to you from the future, which is very interesting as well. But that's good stuff.
Well, I quite like being in the future because we're the first people to do things over here.
Yes.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you, James, is what's your why? Why did you want to do a podcast? Why did you start your podcast?
Yeah. Podcasting was a kind of a natural evolution, right? So I've been blogging from a contextual and text perspective for a long time, for over a decade, then moved into the video piece, right? Moved into doing live streaming and doing interviews and things of that nature. And being complementary, adding the podcast, the audio piece, just again was next that obvious evolution that I thought made sense for sharing the content and sharing the message. So that's really how it all worked out, going from the text base, having something that you can read off of your laptop or off of your desktop, whatever the case may be, then the video piece, focusing on the YouTube ecosystem, and then when folks are at the gym or something, right? When you don't have all of that hardware with you and you just want to hear the message, podcasting is new again, right? Podcasting has been around forever. It's not like it's brand new, but it's getting more and more attention, and the voice and audio just resonates, especially with a lot of the new applications that are coming out, focusing on hearing the dialogue between individuals. So.
Yeah, absolutely, James. And I really love that, with the audio, you can listen to it in your car. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't watch a video. Well, you'd be
not
pretty
supposed to, but you can.
ill-advised. Be pretty ill-advised to watch a video.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you can certainly listen to a podcast. And I mean, that's really how I got into mine was, one day I was doing a bit of a road trip with my adult daughter in the car. And of course, we can never agree on the music. You can imagine that there's I had her when I was 36. So there's a big age gap there.
There's something for everyone, right? Listen and learn sometimes, right? And you can get a lot from a podcast. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah. So we did. She said, "Oh, well, choose a podcast, Mum," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I really enjoyed it. I couldn't even tell you what it was, but it's kind of something clicked in my brain, and I thought, yeah, podcasting is
good
really a
stuff.
way
Good
to
stuff.
get your message out there. So I totally hear what you're saying, James. So, what is the name of your podcast, and what's it all about?
Yeah. So the podcast is called H&M Live, and H&M is short for Hicks New Media. Hicks New Media is the digital publishing and technology consulting firm that I started again a little over 10 years ago. We talk about a lot. I'm a engineering technologist by trade and by education. So I'll go into technology, how it matters for enterprises, how it matters for consumers. I'll also talk about social impact statements. So I like to have those awkward conversations that not a lot of people are having, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my shows is called Team No Sleep. It's focused around the social impact of sport. Me and my co-host very rarely talk about what the latest score is, what kind of shoes the athletes are wearing, but we talk about how sports resonates and really infiltrates society, and how folks should look at that and understand again, there are different aspects to these things that we enjoy. We all like to watch a football game. We all like to watch a baseball game, or whatever the case may be. But what does it mean when you kind of peel back the layers of that and find out what the social impact of that is, and then what can be those awkward conversations at time, right? So social diversity, pay inequality.
Mm.
Um, like right now, think about the Olympics. So I've got a show tonight talking about the Olympics. The young lady who is figure skating, born in the U.S., but she's figure skating for China. She just fell the first two times when she was out there, and just the psychological and the mental aspects of what's going on in that young 19-year-old's mind right now. So having that kind of a conversation, and there isn't enough of that happening. So I really want to kind of push those buttons, have that, and do it in a constructive means, in a constructive, organic way of being able to have people help each other, right? Because again, I think it just matters, and I think it resonates with society to have those awkward conversations and to have support amongst peers and amongst folks who can be subject matter experts in different topics. So, long answer, but that's what it is. It's called H&M Live at kind of the overarching umbrella when you look at the syndicated locations at the Spotify's and the Apple Musics and things of that nature. But yeah, I'll talk about enterprise technology. I'll talk about social impact. I'll talk about business and finance and how that resonates in today's world as well.
Well, that is absolutely fascinating, James. And I mean, yeah, it really resonates with me, except when you mention the word technology, and then I think it's probably my age group, if I'm going to be absolutely honest, because, we didn't grow up with any of this stuff.
Right. Well, see, and again, I take that piece and I say, how do we make it more consumer friendly, this conversation, right? You're in New Zealand, I'm in Northern California in the US. Just the technology of being able to communicate, see each other, talk to each other. How does that work, and how to make that more of a layman conversation? So everyone can, you don't need to know the bits and the bytes of it, but, understanding how this is actually happening. And that's exciting, right? Because everyone has this $1,000 computer in their pocket, these phones, and you've got instant access to everything. There's no longer the days of TV going off at midnight or waiting for the newspaper. I'm like I may have shaved off the salt this morning, but I've been around the block a couple of times as well. But just we all live it and take advantage of it on a daily basis. I think there's goodness in knowing what you have access and capability of learning.
Oh, absolutely, James. Absolutely. So my last question for you is, how has the pandemic impacted your podcast at all? Or
yeah, the podcast, the pandemic was interesting, right? The whole planet stopped. Not just California, not just New Zealand, not just New York. The whole planet stopped for 17 plus months because we're still kind of in a stalled state. And for me, it really allowed me to focus on, as you can tell, kind of from my branding, right? I'm focused on you. That's the branding that I have here. And it really allowed me to pause and say, what do I really want? Why am I in this? So back to your first question also, why am I doing this? Why am I telling these stories? Why am I spending this time? And the pandemic really caused me to kind of get out of my own way and identify the niches that I wanted to speak on, identify the vehicles in terms of how I was going to spread that message. So the video and the podcasting and things like that. So it really allowed, since we couldn't go anywhere and we couldn't really do much outside of the four walls that we exist in, the pandemic allowed me to stop, pause, and focus really on what really the things that really mattered to me moving forward, personal and professional, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the pandemic has had some positive spin-offs as well as all the other side of it. So that's great to hear, James. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you again at the summit. So Definitely. Thanks so much for being on this interview with me today. And I will talk to you soon, and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day over there in California.
You too. Have a great one. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Bye for now.